This is Scale Her Up, the podcast for female-led businesses ready to grow to seven figures and beyond. I'm Dr. Brenda Hector, business coach and champion for women in business. I'm on a mission to change the stats and help more women to scale successfully. Each week, we share real stories, tools, and tactics to help you build a business that supports the life you want. Follow the show and come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community. You don't have to do this on your own. I'm delighted today to have Jill Henry with me of Meander Apparel and Tens Sunglasses. Jill, thank you very much for taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you. Lovely to be here. Nice to be invited. Thank you.
So tell me about your businesses then, Meander Apparel and Tens Sunglasses. So it may be obvious what you do, but just to explain your business for the listeners.
Yes, of course. But so yes, there's two Scottish lifestyle brands. So Meander is an outdoor lifestyle clothing brand. We make very comfortable, versatile clothing, and it's designed to be worn from the city to the mountains. So unlike other outdoorsy clothing brands where you might have big logos or therefore, climbing high mountains, we're much more about versatile gear for everyday adventures. That's what we do. And then about a year and a half ago, we had the opportunity to acquire 10 sunglasses. So as well as having our own brand, we also have a store where we'd always sold a few other brands that we love, and Tens was one of those brands. And yes, an opportunity for us came up to take the reins about a year and a half ago. And Tens is a brand that's known for its unique photofilter lenses. It was started by photographers, and these lenses kind of make everything feel warmer and brighter and better around you. And so perfect for sunglasses coming out of Scotland. And we've got a very much a global community. Tens is a online, mostly direct consumer brand. And so, yeah, very proud and excited to have Tens on board as well.
Fantastic. So you're the co-founder of Meander.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell me about that journey then. What inspired you to start?
So my background is very much involved in the fashion industry. So I graduated from a fashion design and a degree in the Scottish Borders, and then headed straight to London for, my first role down there, which was in production and a very nice kind of menswear designer brand. I stayed in London for a good 10 or so years, working my way up, working in different kind of fashion houses and for brands, and just, really loved it. Always had a passion for the fashion industry and clothing. But I guess more latterly, whilst I was working in London, I was perhaps more thinking about doing something that aligned more with my values. I think I always had a kind of burning desire to go and create my own brand or business and have something that I was really proud to own. I met my husband when I was down in London as well. He comes from more of a financial background, but he's also a qualified engineer and very much an outdoorsy person. He's a scuba diving instructor and really loves the outdoors. And so I think it was a joint passion for both enjoying, doing things outdoors. I think the time we came up with Meander, we had actually just planned a bike ride with a group of friends from London to Paris, and we went a very long and meandering route, stopping off, at wineries and Mont-Saint-Michel and just enjoying the journey, which is very much what Meander is all about. But what we kind of noticed at that time was there wasn't very many performance clothing brands, or there wasn't something that we could find that kind of ticked those boxes whereby you could get off a bike in Paris and feel quite comfortable in what you had on, and something that might, suit our wardrobes when we weren't on a cycle ride.
It's practical, but not stylish, really, is it?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we wanted to create a range that was functional, that was performance. So, all our outerwear in the range is fully waterproof, but you don't feel like you're dressed to go necessarily hiking. A lot of our customers are they live in the Edinburgh city centre, they live in Stockbridge, and they're outdoorsy people. They're meanderers, so they'll maybe wear that same jacket to whether they're going into town or going to visit some friends, they'll still feel comfortable. So that's what it's all about, just creating really nice, stylish performance clothing for everyday wear.
So what were the, I'm just, my listenership are people who are looking to start or scale their business. So let's just talk about like getting started. How'd you get started?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while from idea to actually launching. I would say it was, longer than I would have liked. So I think kind of, you know, just doing the research and coming up with the idea. But then I think it's kind of ensuring that there is a market and an audience for it. But I think part of it was also just having the confidence to go ahead and launch. But there was a lot of groundwork for me to do, or for us to do. So whilst I had worked in the fashion industry and I had quite a few contacts, I didn't necessarily have the contacts within the kind of performance world, which is very different to, I think latterly I had been working for House of Holland, which is a beautiful fashion label, mostly making dresses for the catwalk. So the kind of manufacturers that make those products as opposed to making something with tape seams and, lovely waterproof fabrics are very different. So building up the supply base was probably one of the first things that took the longest. So I'd say it's been a good, probably 12 months or so, going to fabric fairs in Paris and Germany and looking for people that ticked all the boxes, that were sustainable and that were performance driven, and finding those right contacts. And that whole kind of process of developing the products, it takes a good while. And then in the meantime,
probably always takes longer than a founder would like to get through that.
It takes so long, from initial idea to, it's normal in the fashion industry, even when you're up and running, to kind of, maybe spend 6-12 months or longer on a development. But when that's you just getting started, and then you still got to do all the production, and you're sort of building up, finding out who's interested and if there's customers, that whole period that definitely feel like it was taking forever. And at that point, Steve and I had decided that we wanted to move to Scotland and, start our life up here with Meander. And so, it was a move in a time where, I'd left a great job and then excited to start up the brand, but it wasn't really going yet. So you do kind of feel like you're wondering what you're doing, I think, as well. But there was absolutely lots involved. And I think at that point as well, I was just kind of involving myself anywhere that I could see startup communities as well. So accessing like the Edinburgh Business School, there was a cohort there, and I would go along weekly and meet with lots of other startup founders.
That's a really good piece of advice, actually, is go and find a community that are doing the same or doing something similar, and share their learnings and struggles.
Absolutely. It was super important, because I think people say that it can be quite lonely being an entrepreneur, but I think the hardest part is, okay, once you're going in, then you have a team around you and you build up your network. But, in those very early days when you're maybe none of your friends are necessarily setting up their own businesses, and you are kind of out there on your own, I would say it's super important to try and surround yourself with some other people that are at the same stage and motivate each other and help in that phase.
So tell me about, then once you had a product, then did you promote it yourself? Do you have to find outlets for it? Is it, where can we buy your products?
Yeah. So, so many different ways of doing things. At the time when we launched, so it was 2018, and that was, there was quite a big direct consumer movement happening then, I would say. And we were watching quite a lot of companies do extremely well, where, their website was the main place to go. You were then cutting out, going through stores you were able to control your margins. You were able to have that conversation direct with your customers about who you are, what your values are, and what you stood for. And that's something that really appealed to Steve and I, rather than going down the more traditional route, maybe, which would be selling into other stores. We like the idea of owning that whole journey. So we decided to launch our products on Indiegogo, which is a crowdfunding platform, whereby, we weren't giving up any equity at that point. It was a reward-based platform, whereby you have a product, have a prototype, you showcase that. We made a video around the prototype, around the idea, and it's really about telling your story. So, why we made our products, why it's different, and you put it out there on the platform, and if crowds gets behind you and supports your campaign. So you set a target. For us, I think we set our goal at something like £10,000. And if you reach your minimum goal, then, your campaign is a success. You're given the money via all your kind of backers. And in return, people received their first jacket of our production run at a discounted price. So it's quite a good way of kind of validating your idea as well, without going out and making the production first. And you're kind of testing if there is a market there. So yeah, we were lucky enough to have a successful overfunded campaign, and that really got us going, funded our first production run. And then from there, I think after the first production was delivered, we continued to sell online, and then we moved into stores quite quickly as well. We tried our very first pop-up store in a very small store in Stockbridge in Edinburgh, and we found that to be quite successful. We really enjoyed speaking to the customers and getting that direct feedback straight away. And that's when we thought, actually, I think store, we'd like to try our own retail store. And at that time, it was the end of 2019, coming into 2020. So really just as kind of COVID hit, and it probably seemed like a bit of a crazy time to secure a lease on a store. And thankfully, we didn't sign before the pandemic hit. It was just happening when we were about to. And we pulled out of one because we thought, actually, I don't know what's going on right now. But, we waited 6 months and we continued selling online. And then there were other opportunities that came up. A lot of retailers were getting out of their leases, and it just meant that for a kind of startup that's quite agile like ourselves, there was opportunities to be had. So we were able to take a beautiful store on George Street in Edinburgh, which is very central, and sit next to some lovely big sort of stores and brands there. And we took a rolling contract. It started out as 3 months, and we ended up staying there for 2 years. So it was a brilliant opportunity, and we stayed there until we moved to our now permanent location, which is back in Stockbridge where we got started, which very much feels like a home destination for us, with very nicely aligned brands. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. And the store angle is still great for us, but we're very much now focused on the online business for Meander and Thames, as there's just a huge opportunity to capture a much bigger audience there. So that's our focus. For a while, we did try more pop-ups, and we had another store in London, and lots of great learnings from those places. In fact, we had a store in Covent Garden for 3 years. So we've met some fantastic people on the way, and some of these people that were customers in those stores have become investors and backers in our brand. Yeah, it still feels like we're at the start of an exciting journey, and we're looking forward to the year ahead and pushing our plans online.
So tell me about the acquisition then, because obviously we're all about starting and growing, and growth by acquisition is quite a proven method. So how were you looking for an opportunity, or did the opportunity come to you?
No, we weren't looking for an opportunity. The opportunity did come to us. We had sold 10 sunglasses in our stores since we opened our first store in Edinburgh. It was a brand that we'd always admired. Thames had also taken the direct-to-consumer route. Initially, they launched their crowdfunding campaign, I think 3 or 4 years ahead of us starting, and theirs had really gone quite viral. So they had attracted a huge worldwide global following from the get-go. And the sunglasses were described as like Instagram filters for your eyes, very much when Instagram was coming, to life, and it was picked up by press all over the world, which really all helped that campaign go viral and go incredibly well. So they really got off to a massive running start. And there were 3 photographers from Scotland. So it was a brand that we had been watching and admiring and loved what they did. And yeah, so we were very happy to be selling the products. And I think over the years, the Thames founders who had started the brand had perhaps moved on. They've all been very successful in doing other things, and other entrepreneurial opportunities had come up for them. And it had been a consultancy were running the brand. And I think the main investors were looking for somebody else to really take over and drive the brand and take it forwards. And yes, it was, so the opportunity came to us. I think we were probably a store that sold Thames very well, and we had a relationship there. They knew that we sold Thames well. They also knew that we had our own clothing brand, and so we were very familiar with that whole kind of design, make and sell cycle, and perhaps saw us as people that could take the brand forwards. So yes, started in conversations, and it just all felt like it made sense. We've very integrated it, I would say, into what we do quite seamlessly. So whilst we are two outwardly different facing brands, we've very much got the Meander clothing brand and its own customer. And then we have the Thames sunglass brand. There's definitely an alignment there. Both brands very much inspired by, travel and adventure, and both making really well made products that follow a similar kind of cycle. And I would say that both brands are quite timeless and more core collections. So we can kind of run those hand in hand. So whilst it has added some degree of complexity, there's lots of things that have come in quite seamlessly. And we've, only been running trends for 1.5 years, but we've already seen brilliant traction. And yeah, I think it's a really big opportunity and another exciting avenue for growth for us.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Tell me about you then. Tell me about Jill. What have you learned about Jill on this entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of tricky. I think sometimes it's hard. You don't really even stop and look back, and it always seems to be about going forwards and seeing what's next and what the next opportunity is. So I don't know how much time I've sort of taken to sit back and think what I've learned, but I mean, I'm sure there's so much really that I have learned along the way, from the people. I've got an incredible team who I work with. We're a very small team, but we work very closely together. And so I think just kind of learning how to get the best out of people is something that, is super important too, because it's people that are going to make the difference and drive the business forward. So I think, that's been a journey, but making sure that when you have the right people, that you kind of nurture those relationships and do your best to ensure that they're enjoying and involved in the journey as much as you are, so that we can all get to that kind of goal and destination together. But yeah, I think being an entrepreneur, you're just wearing so many different hats.
Yeah.
Whilst, some people sort of say to me, oh, you've worked in the fashion industry lots, like you must have known what you were doing. It has been a huge learning curve because, I maybe worked in one small area of the fashion industry, but when you start your own business, you become the designer, the buyer, the finance, the marketing,
Yeah.
everything else. So lots of things have been learned along the way, which, all helps make it all the more interesting, I would say.
Who's been your biggest supporter on the journey?
I mean, I started Meander, my co-founder is Steve. He's my husband, and I think I'm very thankful to have gone on this journey with somebody else and have a co-founder. There's just been so much going on. We've got very different skill sets as well. So I think we complement and support each other in that way quite a lot. But also when I started Meander, I wanted to move back up to Scotland. Scotland's home. My whole family's here. And I think I knew that this wasn't going to be a quick win business, which is, it's not. It's definitely a journey. So just having, family and close friends around has been, really good support. I don't know that there's been one main cheerleader for me. But just being surrounded by really good friends and family has been definitely very valuable. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's lovely. Lovely to hear. Yeah. So, do you think you were always going to be an entrepreneur? Was it always in your path, do you think?
Quite possibly. I'm not sure. I think, I think there's maybe some things in me that are definitely, I didn't follow such a clear path. I wasn't the A student at school. It was probably the one that was a little bit more looking for other avenues and other ways, and kind of, find something that I loved doing, which was brilliant. But I think I took a year out and traveled in my very early 20s and spent, a year going around South America, Brazil, and, Argentina and places like that. And it's such an eye opener, I think, when you go and travel and you see different places and you see new things. And I recall coming back from there, so, kind of mid-20s, and just having seen all these different things to what you get in the UK and being quite keen to set up my own thing at that age. But I think when it came down to it, it maybe wasn't quite the right time, or should have been the right time. Maybe I should have gone for it, and I might have been relaxing on my yacht by now. But it didn't feel completely the right time for me, which is why I headed back to London. But I think it did ignite a little bit of spark for having my own business. So I would say that for most of the time when I was working for other brands, I was kind of looking at what they were doing and learning and
building up the knowledge.
Yes, exactly. Thinking about how it could be implemented one day.
And I wrote down people. You mentioned people, and you said that looking after your people, because that's how your business is going to grow. How do you find the right people? How do you, talent and hiring staff and keeping staff? That's a big challenge for a lot of businesses. How have you managed that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do. We've been very lucky. We've got, I think, all of our team, certainly a few of them have been with us for quite a number of years since those kind of COVID pandemic times. I've had people that just had graduated then and now have been working with us several years on the kind of marketing side of things. And they are really, being integral to the business. I mean, finding them, we go about things the usual way. So advertising the role on LinkedIn. We do spend a lot of time, I would say, recruiting, making sure that very much we're checking that, people are aligned with the brand and the values and the vision. So when we're putting a job role out there, we're really paying attention to ensuring that we're getting our brand and values and see if that resonates with theirs. So spend quite a lot of time chatting through those things. And I think there's something in what people say and that is hire slow and fire fast. As much as nobody likes firing people, it's not something I've done much of, but I think hiring, taking your time, and then when you find the right people, just making sure that you invest in them. And I think it's true what people say, it's not necessarily always money that drives people, but it is giving them that sense of responsibility. And for us, it's all about kind of, sharing with the team, no matter what level they're at, like, what the goal is, and sort of, saying we're all on this journey together. So everyone's pulling together to help get us there. But yeah, we do have a good team, and I feel lucky to have them on the journey.
It's not luck though. Luck is where preparedness meets opportunity. So you've put the work in to get the right people. So
Yeah.
it's down to you. It's not just
Yeah. I think, obviously there's kind of bumps on the roads, but I think when you do get the team right, it just, everything becomes so much easier. So I think it's definitely worth investing the time at the beginning and as you go, to make sure that, you've got the right people and that those people are happy and thriving in their roles as well.
That's a really good reflection. I've just come off a call with a client, and she's having trouble with her team, and she's having a very difficult time in her business just now, and it's just down to the wrong people being there at the moment. So I'll get her listening to this for sure. So the other thing I wanted to ask you about then is being in business with your partner. Is that, some people say, "Oh, I couldn't work with my partner," or is that a challenge or a benefit, or?
I would say there's both. Like, there's definitely, I think for us, and that's not necessarily really about being a partner, but it's just having those different skill sets. So we actually work well together. But it's fun as well. Like, a lot of what we do is, or maybe not a lot of what we do, but we do get to travel to some gorgeous places. We do dining and we go to Paris and Milan, and to be able to do these things with your other half, it's very nice. And we also have, our sunglasses are manufactured in the Far East. So we were there last year. And so to be able to share those moments together is really quite fun. And then on the other hand, I suppose when things are really tough, it can be quite nice to also be able to, really share that with somebody that you obviously know very well. I think on the downside, when things are tough, it can be quite difficult to keep that just to work and not bring that into your kind of home time and that stress home with you. Whether it is perhaps if I wasn't doing this with my other half, then that's exactly what you would do. And so, I wouldn't change who do it. I think it does work for us, but I'm not saying that there's not any bumps or things along the way, But I do think that finding, if you can, a co-founder or setting up a business with somebody else is a good thing to do. And yes, if it happens to be your other half, then maybe just having a few boundaries and knowing when it's time to switch off or when they're done.
That's a very good piece of advice, actually. Yeah, no, and have the boundary between work. Yeah. But I like what you said about having a co-founder, because that's someone to share the load, but also share the joy with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think someone said it to me when I traveled. Actually, I traveled and I did go with a friend. I think initially I was supposed to be going alone, and I felt like maybe I should be doing this alone, and learning things and being completely open. But then, not long before I went, a friend said to me, "Oh, I haven't traveled. I would love to go to South America." And I said, "Oh, well, come with me." And I said to somebody else, I have thought about going by myself. I felt like it's something I would do. And I remember her saying to me that, you'll always have those stories and those adventures to share between you because you went with someone else. which is so true. I mean, we've been in our 20s and we're both in our 40s, but we will never forget those moments, that you do when you travel. And I think it's a little bit like that with a business as well. There's so many ups and downs, and you're just able to share that with someone else. And yeah, hopefully there'll be way more good memories that we ends up having. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So what's in the future then? What does 2026 and beyond have in store for Meander and Tens?
Yeah, I mean, we're super excited. Like, we've been in business now maybe 7 years with Meander, but still feel like we very much are just scratching the surface. So for us, it's just, there's lots of new products that we would love to do, and just continue to keep getting our brands out there, sharing our, brand stories and vision, finding more new customers, and yeah, just seeing where it takes us. Like, we have a huge aspiration to really build a brand in this kind of outdoor and travel space. I think there is a big opportunity. Whilst it is a competitive market, I don't think there's too many that are doing exactly what we want to do. So I think there's a huge opportunity, and we would love to take our small Scottish brands to become the global players. So we will see.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. That's
Yeah.
fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, is there anything that I should have asked you, Jill, that I haven't? Anything that you would like to add to the conversation?
I don't know. I mean, I don't, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. We spoke about team and meander and tens and where we want to take it. So yeah, I think you covered those. Great. Good stuff.
Oh, I have forgotten one actually. What advice would you have for another female thinking of starting and scaling her business?
I think if you're starting, it is important to look at, what the white space is. And that's something that we still do now. Clothing in particular is very competitive. And so it's super important that we're always looking and thinking, well, how are we different from our competitors? Where is that white space? Who is it we're speaking to? So I think if you are going into something, I would never say someone don't go into a crowded market, because plenty of people do, and they're very, very successful. But you have to be able to find something that's a little bit different or a little bit better. So it's not just an uphill struggle. And so we definitely see that, do a little bit of research and find your white space. And I think you just have to launch and go for it. I did spend quite a long time in that slightly pre-launch phase, but I don't think you really learn until you start doing. So I think you just have to go for it.
And learning, that's how you grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, completely. Yeah. Yeah. And then you can always, you can pivot, you can make changes. And I think most businesses do. And, it's not something that we wouldn't consider even now. I mean, I'm not saying I would completely change the direction of what we're doing, but we're always looking to see what's the next opportunity and what's the next product that we can invent and or come up with, and that could be the best one yet. So yeah, you definitely learn as you grow and find what people want.
Yeah, well, it's all about the customer, isn't it? If it's what the customer
Definitely.
wants, then you're onto a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jill, it's been an absolute pleasure interviewing you today. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been really inspiring. Yeah.
Thank you. It's been really lovely chatting. Yeah.
And thank you to you for listening to Scale Her Up. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show and leave a review. It helps more female business owners find us. Come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community to get support, accountability, and connection with other women who get it. And remember, only 1 in 3 UK entrepreneurs are female, and men are still 5 times more likely to scale their business beyond £1 million in turnover than women. When we start and scale our businesses to the same extent as men, we'll add £250 billion to the UK economy and create millions of jobs. Ladies, you can do it, and your business can make a massive difference.